Good evening, everyone, and welcome to day 530. Glad you're here tonight. Going to be a good night. So much stuff we're going to be covering. Huge weekend of events unfolding, and the last 5 or 6 hours have been crazy in Ukraine, and I'm going to get you completely up to date as of now. It's August the 7th. It is day 530 of this war. Unbelievable. 530 days. August the 7th, 2023. So thank you for being here. Thank you for continuing to like and share, subscribe, comment, join the Patreon, donate, give, all of those things that we've been doing since the war began. We couldn't do it without you. And it's a great team that we are together. So thank you. And here we go. Let's jump right in tonight. So we've been watching this right here. Probably 5-6 weeks ago, shared with you guys that they would be changing the shield on this huge statue that stands over Kyiv. This is called the Statue to the Motherland, built in 1981 during the time of the Soviet Union. But now it is adjusted, and today they were raising the new shield in place, and it's very interesting. Really, if you look at it, so you can see here the workers are up there. They're putting the new shield on, the new trident, the new marker, and it's really cool. In fact, here a little bit of video for you. This is when they were raising it, and so you notice no big crowds. That was done on purpose so that it would not be a target. So just basically workers and people had to stand at a certain distance. So that's the shield going into place. Many people have asked me, do I know what that shield represents? The answer is yes, I do. And I can tell you as well, nobody really knows, to be quite honest. I know people look at that and go, okay, I see a spoon there. It's not a spoon. I see, others, especially when the war began, they were calling that a Nazi symbol. Remember back in the days of Mariupol and Azovstal, and they were trying to do everything they could to show that the Azov regiment were Nazis, and different markers, the marker for the Azov, and then they were using the Ukrainian insignia. The fact is, it's not. I can tell you what it is and what it comes from. It is their trident, but the origination of it is way before Ukraine, way before Russia. If you go back into history here, this is the original symbol. This was on early coinage around 1000 AD. This was first used during the era of Vladimir the Great. And they don't know that he came up with this symbol, because this symbol also comes from up in Europe that was used by others. But you can see the beginnings of the shape there. And historians have said, okay, it most likely what it was, and I'm going to see if you guys can see this, is a falcon with a cross. A falcon with a cross. So the cross above the diving falcon, the historical marker that it's a Christian nation, and then the diving falcon, which was used all through that era of history as a sign. Now, the modern marker today, you can see it, and this is the one that everybody knows. But here's what's interesting. So you may say, okay, falcon? Yeah. Check this out right here. Let me do this for you. So you say, well, I don't see a falcon. Well, it's right here. Here are the eyes, right there and right there. And then the wings are here. And it's diving. So that's where most historians are. And of course, this is the body, a diving falcon. So maybe you're wondering, so, okay, what does that symbol mean? Well, I can tell you it is definitely way before modern history in Ukraine, all the way back to Vladimir the Great, over 1,000 years ago. So that's where we're at with that. Hope that helps you guys. Now, let's keep moving. Over the weekend, we've had two major bridges hit again, the Chongar Bridge as well as the Henichesk Bridge. Right here, we've got the Chongar Bridge. It was actually hit by Storm Shadow missiles. It's closed. It is not completely destroyed. It is extremely damaged, but not completely destroyed. No traffic is going to be going over it anytime soon. Additionally, this is the Henicheski Bridge. It's closed. This was hit as well. This one most likely by HIMARS. And I'm going to show you guys where these are at here so you can understand. Now, Russia only has the alternative road, but I've shown you this before. This is the Chongar Bridge. So, you know, you can see this is not a massive bridge. It's very important. It's the one that connects mainland Ukraine, the occupied territory of the Kherson region, coming down into Crimea. So it's a smaller bridge. You can also see there is a bypass bridge, and, you know, pontoon system here will for sure be used now, but we got it. So that's very good. Additionally, Ukraine also hit the Henichesk Bridge. And this one's another little teeny one way up here. The town of Henichesk. And then we're just talking about this little bridge here. That's it. This is the one that was hit in Henichesk. So over the weekend, Ukraine has hit two bridges. They've also hit the amphibious ship in the port over there, mainland Russia. They also hit the tanker. And of course, Russia spinning that for their propaganda that Ukrainians are terrorists because they're hitting civilian ships. So that's the big story that Russia is pushing off of this. So the bottom line, both these bridges are closed. In fact, this bridge right here, the Henicheski Bridge, will be more difficult. I know the other one's destroyed more, the Chongar, but they can repair that they can remedy that pretty quickly with a pontoon or a workaround. And as I showed you before, it also has a parallel bridge running beside it. I don't know about the parallel. It was a double lane bridge that was hit. So Chongar and Hennessy are hit. So we are good right there. But with all of those things, of course, Russia wants to respond. In fact, here's a little video of Henicheski Bridge being hit from afar. It was hit at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So that's an image actually from Henicheski. And they whacked her good. So it's positive. Unfortunately, you get the give and take when this stuff happens, and Russia has responded very, very heavily. Hold on, I got to get this cable unhooked. Very, very heavily, they have responded. And we're going to talk about that now. We're going to talk about quite a bit of it tonight. But before we get there, I want to jump over to Bakhmut. We don't talk about it much anymore because it's fallen, other than Ukraine has been doing okay on their counteroffensive. It's just slow, folks. And it's going to be slow. It's not going to change. I want to show you the map on that. Let me do this and pull it up. In fact, let's just do this real quick, and then I'm going to show you Bakhmut tonight. We come up from the north as we do, you know, no real changes, to be honest. Ukraine taking a little here, Russia taking a little there. There's just very little changes. You know, when you talk about, and I try not to make a a downplay on it. But if I go to another map here, and we're very thankful Ukraine is making these gains, and they're picking up 12.32 kilometers square, for example, right here in one of these big pushes. Here we've liberated 22.82 square kilometers. So very thankful. But when I click, the occupied territory is just in the south, this red region here, 45,000 square kilometers. So I don't make light of what Ukraine has recovered. We're very thankful for it, but we've got a long way to go, and we just can't give up. We're not going to give up. So you've got 45,000 square kilometers here. You've got 16,000 square kilometers there. You've got 17,000 square kilometers there. And, the front line is just not moving. If I go back, this map right here, these are the guys, this Institute for the Study of War. We're getting little pushes here, and Ukraine does a good job. You can see the blues. The blue representing the Ukrainian advancement, the gold representing the Russian advancement. Of course, this is our best area here on the east, Bakhmut. You can see the blue, the blue, the blue, the blue, and basically now a straight line outside of Bakhmut and Ivanivsky. So it's very good, but we've just got a long way to go on the front line. So now, what is Ukraine doing in Bakhmut? I've got a video here that was released. This is very cool. Nothing bad here, but you're going to see the city of Bakhmut. You're also going to see the drone flying in, a Ukrainian drone with the camera. And it actually takes out a logistics pole. It's got communications, satellite communications, reconnaissance communications. Ukraine takes it out, and it's right there in Bakhmut. Wanted to share that with you guys tonight. This is what's happening in Bakhmut. So you see the pole right there, and ba-boom. They'll show it a little bit more. Bam. So, Ukraine's doing what they can do. I'm going to tell you one thing. You do not want to mess with their drone guys. They're really good. Let's see here. Okay. Come on, Desai. That's funny, dude. I know that's back to the Trident. I'm catching up with the chat now. No wonder the Kurt stands. No chance of standing. Yeah, Ukrainians are the descendants of Atlantis. Mark McLaren. It does make sense. I know we're talking about the Trident there. I can see the Falcon. Yes, it is a Falcon. Rick Berry, Slava Ukraina. Ricochet, welcome to you as always, my military man. Mark McLaren, you're spot on. Delays allow you to supplies allows Ukraine to push that little bit further. That's our friend from across the pond there. M1A1 tanks approved for shipment. That is correct. We'll be talking about that in just a moment. Early to mid-autumn. That is correct. It will be early to mid-autumn, as of right now. And I believe that'll happen. And we're going to get to that in just a moment. So that's where we're at on the front lines here. I can also tell you that down on the south, Ukraine's best pushes Veliki Novosilka and below Orikhiv. Orikhiv right here is the village where, not a village, the small town where Zhenya and I do a lot of work and base out of. So our guys are making good pushes there. But other than that, nothing has really changed, especially going down toward Kherson. Nothing's changed. So that's where we're at on the front lines. Now, after the striking of the amphibious ship in the Russian port, after hitting these bridges, Russia did respond with the largest mass missile air attack in quite some time. Ukraine was able to take out 57 of the 70 flying objects. 100% of the Shaheeds were taken down. 12 out of 14 of the Caliber class missiles, which are launched from the ships, were taken out. 13 out of 20 of the KH-101s were taken out. And 3 Kinjals did hit their targets. Those Kinjals were the ones that did a lot of the damage in Khmelnytsky region, which we'll be looking at. Plus, there were some S-300s flying. So Ukraine did pretty good, but it was a tough 24, 36 hours here. In fact, I was on the phone with a friend of mine, my apartment there in Khmelnytsky, where I live and have lived for so many years. I was talking to my buddy there, and while we were talking on the phone, he was telling me how hot it was in Ukraine, brutally hot. He had his window open, and we happened to be talking. It was Saturday, actually afternoon. I was actually driving to play in a golf tournament, of which I played very well. And on the way there, I was talking to him, and it just happened that the moment we were chatting is when one of the Kinjals hit in Starokonstantinov area, and he heard it. He heard it. So he didn't feel it. He didn't see it. He heard it. He says, man, Starcon was just hit. He knew it. Then, of course, we find out that that is what happened. And we're going to talk about that more. So Belarus, over the last 24 hours, everyone was talking that, oh my, Belarus is now launching missiles from their sovereign territory. Yuri Ignat came out today and says, listen, that is 100% not true. Ukraine is not spreading that news. Missiles were not fired from Belarus. But some of the missiles that hit the target that were not taken out, their flight path took them from Russian sovereign territory over Belarusian airspace and then into Ukraine. So that is where the confusion came from. But the missiles were not fired from Belarusian territory, but they flew through Belarusian airspace. So you're just as guilty. But that's where we're at on the missiles flying out of Belarus. Now, what was Russia trying to hit? Well, they didn't try to hit it. They hit it. What is it? This is it. It's called the Motor Sich Corporation, founded in 1907. Motor Sich. What is that? That is a precision aircraft engine manufacturer company. Russia was going after engine plants. 2 of these were hit. Where are they? They are in Zaporizhia, the main headquarters there. You're seeing the main headquarters. You remember when we flipped our truck back in the winter, Zhenya and I did, and we had to stay in Zaporizhia. We were there for like 5 days while our truck was being repaired, and we were working out of there. We were actually right down the street from this, the Motor Sich Corporation. This is their headquarters. This is an aircraft and like high-tech engine manufacturer there in Ukraine. So their headquarters is in Zaporizhia. If you look on the map here, you guys know where Zaporizhia is. So this is one of the places that Russia did hit, and it was an authentic target. That's not what they've been doing in the last 24 hours, but that was. Additionally, the other place they hit, and for those of you that have been to Khmelnytsky, Larry and Debbie, you'll know this one. They actually hit Volochysk. So if I come over here and you see the Khmelnytsky region, when Russia hit this weekend, they hit 2 places. They hit Starokonstantinov, of course, that's the air base here. We know about that. And then additionally, they hit Volochysk right here. This is where the actual manufacturing takes place of some of those engines. So Khmelnytsky here, Volochysk was hit right here, And you say, well, how far is it from Khmelnytsky to Volochysk? 45 minutes by car? Not far at all. Maybe 40 minutes, you're in Volochysk. And then Starokonstantinov about the same, 40 minutes, 35 if you put the hammer down. And then, of course, the main city here is Khmelnytsky. So this was the major target for this weekend. Now, let's go back here. That's Zaporizhia. That's Volochysk. Kupiansk. Russia hit Kupiansk. Now, what I'm going to show you now are targets that are not military. We get back to the typical Russian target. So they also hit Kupiansk, and Kupiansk is over here on the east. Very, very important place. I'm going to pull this up on the map for you here, and I'll show it to you right here. Let's do this. We're now at the very northern part. I'll zoom out and zoom back in for you guys. Right here to the east of Kharkiv. We come down on the line. You can see here where Russia is making their best pushes. And this is the city of Kupiansk. Russia had that. They left it. And now they're trying to get it back. But Kupiansk is the city where this happened. You may ask, what is that? That is a blood donation and transfusion center for people who are wounded, military, and medical. That was the target, and it was hit. Is Pastor Irina okay? Yes. There were no fatalities in Volochysk. There was some injuries, but none of our people we personally know were hit. I can tell you that one. I'm not laughing. Thank God for hardened aircraft shelters and storage vaults. Yes, sir. No more beer for Belarus. No Christmas card this year. That's true. With China sending gear to Russia and U.S. sending gear to Ukraine, can we just wipe the national debt, which China holds much of? Hey, doesn't that sound like a deal? Do you see all that stuff happening, though, that you wrote about? China, Russia, U.S., Ukraine. You guys did pay attention to Alaska this weekend, right? I'm not going to put too much into it, but who's rolling together? Russia and China. Come on, man. This is so easy to see. So that's Kupiansk. There were 2 people killed and a few wounded when that hit there. Additionally, as always, your daily reminder of Kherson. Kherson, never in the news, but always being smashed. 1 person killed. This is this morning or last night in Kherson. 14 wounded. The target was residential building right downtown. Where this building was hit, and the picture I'm showing you there is not too far from where Zhenya and I stay. So that one hit a little close to home. Ukraine is revolutionizing drone warfare in this war, and the world is taking notice. Yes, sir, I would agree with that, and I will tell you something else. The smartest computer minds are in Ukraine. When you guys are using a lot of the software you use, or apps, travel apps, booking apps, graphic apps, things you do on your computer every day, I guarantee you that working all around the world are Ukrainian computer geniuses. They're everywhere. They're very gifted. And as I've told you guys many times, Mark McLaren, right in this Kherson region, in fact, if you look at that little map there, I can just tell you where the orange meets the white. It's the border of Kherson and Mykolaiv region. If you go right above the K in Kherson, and right in that general area, Zhenya and I were in the home of one of these Ukrainian hackers who was modifying the drones with 3D printing all the circuit boards building and supplying as his work for the military, the munition droppers that run on the DJI Mavic 3s. And we just watched him, and it was unbelievable. And yes, we were delivering them. It was so cool. We not only, of course, help civilians and refugee camps, but we help our military. These guys are sacrificing their lives every day. And what happens is these civilian volunteers that are registered, not somebody out just riding the roads. Xenia is registered. I am registered. We're legal. We make deliveries and we carry certain parts, and we may move it from one hacker to another hacker, or from one hacker who finished a job and meet a military guy and drop off 6 of the drone kits. It's just little things we do. And what's really interesting is when we're carrying them, we actually hide them in our truck just in case. So just a little insight there. That's what we do. And Kherson is such a key place, but a lot of smart people right there on that little map working probably right this minute. These guys never sleep, it seems like. So that is Kherson. Now, I want to get to Pokrovsk. I'm going to show you on the map. Pokrovsk is... Okay. You guys remember when I showed you the video? No, of Xenia? Yeah. At the refugee camp a couple of weeks ago, I recorded him and then I played it back on the live. And there was a lady there at the refugee camp helping with the kids. She was from Pokrovsk. And she asked me, have you ever been to Pokrovsk? Pokrovsk is the road that we use to get in and out. Let me do this and I'll show you Pokrovsk, and then I'm going to tell you what happened. And I have some video for it. So let's go to this map right here. And this is back on Deep State. You guys know the Circle Road, Slavyansk, Kramatorsk, Konstantinivka. You know it. And then the Konstantinivka Road goes to Ivanivsky and then into Bakhmut. Well, when we do that circle, we come out of Konstantinivka, and to start working our way back ultimately to Pavlograd and then to Dnipro, we go through Pokrovsk. So Pokrovsk is right here, right there. So you can see how close it is to the front lines here. Let's do this. 40 kilometers as a straight line. So nowhere. It's just, a few minutes. But these are the roads we run. But Pokrovsk City is right there. So just a few hours ago, Pokrovsk was hit. This is bad. And this is just coming out. Pokrovsk was hit by Iskanders just hours ago. And as of right now, 7 are killed, 57 are wounded. In the 57 that are wounded are 19 policemen and 5 rescuers. As of this minute, 9:30 p.m. Eastern, 4:30 a.m. in Ukraine, in Pokrovsk, the search and rescue has been suspended. The number of killed will go up. The number of wounded will go up. They're even hearing people under the rubble, but Ukraine had to suspend the search, not only due to darkness, and really not darkness, but due to instability. They're having to bring engineers in, get them there to stabilize some of these buildings so that they can remove the rubble where they know that people are. What did Russia do today? They hit it with an Iskander. They waited until the rescue, the police, citizens were running around, helping, in shock, and then they hit it again. It's why it is the 2X up there. It was their typical double hit. So this is Pokrovsk right here. A little bit of video. I'll translate it for you. This is right after the hit. The word in the upper left says Donetsk. It's Donetsk region. He says we're in downtown Pokrovsk. He says there's people over there. There's people over there under it. People, 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 people.
Сейчас приду на нашу сторону.
Пенсионный фонд все повылетал.
This is where one of the shocks came in from the inbound. It wasn't a direct strike. That's the direct strike. The second one came in and hit once we were here helping. Here's a second video. Nope, that's Bakhmut right here. This one. Just different person recording it. No audio on this one. So just imagine, these people come. There's somebody wounded. And this is after the second hit. But these people would be here, and then the next missile arrives. Absolutely calculated. You may be sitting there tonight going, okay, how do they do that? How do they know? Well, it's called collaborators, folks. They're everywhere. They're absolutely everywhere. Sympathizers. There was an attack potentially upon Zelensky's life. Somebody was getting close to him that was a collaborator. That news is coming out. It's what they do. It's what they do. At the beginning of the stream, I talked about the legitimate target of an aircraft engine manufacturer. Not true military, but they're making the engines. It's a little more sensible in a war. It is a war. Nothing sensible, but, the blood bank in Kupiansk, the Pokrovsk, that's terrorism and it's genocide. That's what it is. There's no other way, and there's no other thing to call it. It's pure evil. So this is what happened in Pokrovsk, and it will... those numbers are going to continue to go up big time. Amish Marine, you are spot on, sir. The world sure was wrong about Russia running out of missiles. Does anyone know if Ukraine is going to get an increase in missiles from other countries to match what Russia is deploying? I doubt it. In fact, I can tell you the Tauruses aren't coming. Herman Conti, well, hello from Argentina. Late to live, just starting stream. Slava Ukraine. Welcome, Hernan Conti. Welcome, sir. So that's where we're at with Pokrovsk. It's sad. Now, the title of the program tonight was, the true heroes. I want to highlight this guy here. It's terrible. This guy's name is Andrei Omolchenko. He is the deputy head of the state emergency department in the Donetsk region. Today, he died in Pokrovsk. According to the Minister of Internal Affairs, he was 52 years old. He devoted over half of his life to the service of state emergency. And this guy had been working rescue and recovery in Donetsk region since the war started. He is one of the responders that came after the first missile, the second one hitting. So this gentleman here, very important as far as emergency department, lost his life today, senseless. But that guy's a true hero, always rescuing and always risking his life for the rescue. And, you know, it is dangerous. It's very dangerous when you are near the strikes. And when Zhenya and I were in Pavlograd, which is right beside Pokrovsk, and we got blown out of the bed. I'll show it to you here. Believe me, it was in our minds right here. So Pokrovsk today hit right here. Zhenya and I were in Pavlograd right here when the missile hit very, very close to us. And when we went to the scene, we were one of the first ones there. And believe me, we were thinking about it. We were listening, you know, doing whatever we could do, even to protect ourselves. Trust me, you can hear those things from a long way away. And it's just crazy what's happening. So that's Andrei Omolchenko. Lost his life today. Very, very, very sad, but true hero. True hero. 20,000 villages in Ukraine have no pharmacies or medical supplies, meaning the people have to leave those villages and get to larger towns to get medicine. Ukraine is dispatching mobile pharmacy vehicles beginning immediately. These vehicles are going to be targets, but they're going to be running the villages, getting normal things, folks, blood pressure medicine, sugar, diabetes. You know, you just think about things that are like just normal medicine supplies that people, especially older people, take. Blood pressure and sugar being the main ones. Zhenya and I have run a lot of blood pressure and diabetes medicine. Metformin, I think, is that it? We've run a lot of metformin. It's not available in these villages. And yes, that number is not a mistake. 20,000 villages are without pharmacies, without medical supplies. Nate, that says it right there, bud. Father God be with his loved ones. Exactly. Russian Navy is going to be doubling their capabilities. Not yet. They're running a cycle to get a doubling wherever they're bringing the stuff from, the ships. I don't know, but they will be doubling their presence, specifically meaning their ability to deliver Caliber missiles. Sorry, Caliber. That's what they launch from the ships. They are doubling their capability. So if they've had the ability to have ships, submarines out there that could do 16, they want to get it to where they can launch 32. Once again, back to that thing where they're not running out anytime soon. So that's the Black Sea. We were talking about missiles earlier. This is today. Just reiterated, this is news we already know. And I know there is some news out there that says these Taurus missiles are coming. These are air-launched missiles, cruise missiles that are coming to Ukraine. But Germany today, once again, said there's no timeline for Tauruses, and we don't see it on the horizon. We've discussed it. Ukraine has requested it. First of all, they're not set up to run on the MiGs. They would have to be converted. There are no F-16s there, and I don't even think they're equipable for the F-16. I was reading about it today, but they're not coming. So anytime soon, that's an answer to that. Now, this is interesting. Probably, because I've been on this all day, probably 8 hours ago, this lady here, her name is Gumanyuk. She is a press officer for Ukrainian defense, especially the Southern Front. Well, you can see it. You can see it there in the English Joint Coordination Press Center of the Defense Forces of the South of Ukraine. That's her job. She's on the TV every day. Good lady. The top of that on the right says Agressia RF. It means the aggression of the Russian Federation. And then the white ticker says Varog može zastosovati točkovi raketi udari, meaning over the weekend, Russia fired so many missiles and drones at us, and they're rotating their ships, they're rotating their planes. We feel that for the next 48, 72 hours, there will be a lull in the missile strikes, a lull in the shaheeds. Folks, it wasn't 2 or 3 hours later that they hit Pokrovsk. They not only hit Pokrovsk, they also tonight have hit and brought damage in Zaporizhia again, and in Kramatorsk. I'm telling you, it was 8 hours ago. She was on the TV, and it's not on her. It's not on her. She should say that, bringing peace and saying, listen, they hit us with a hard punch this weekend. We should have a few calm days as far as the air raids. It wasn't 2 hours after that report, Pokrovsk was hit, Kramatorsk was hit, and Zaporizhia was hit. And right now, this one just kicked in. Zaporizhia under air alarm again, as well as Donetsk. Of course, Nikopol always under artillery alert. So it's just, that's what happens. And it was on the TV today. In fact, after that, Ukraine gave their release. Every day, Ukraine releases their intelligence. And people may say, well, why do they release anything? Because they want their people to know they're in a war. So they release every day where the airplanes are. Okay? So after she made the statement, and that's back to here, which she did right. No shade at her at all. She's doing her job and saying, listen, we're going to get a little reprieve here for a few days. Ultimately, that was not the plan of Russia. Ukraine came out about the time Pokrovsk was hit with the information on the airplane locations that are carrying the missiles. Not all, but this is pretty interesting. How they know all this stuff, it's intelligence. I know other nations are helping them, but it's really interesting. So Ukraine came out and says, okay, here's where the airplanes are, and here are where the missiles are that are loaded and ready to come again. So I don't know if they were answering back, especially after Pokrovsk was hit, saying, okay, we can't rest on our laurels, but they came out with this information here. So you see Ukraine here. They said, we've got in Soltsi, we've got 6 Tu-22s, and they're loaded with KH-22. Just the amount of air bases. So that's this air base here. Additionally, I think I can do Control-Alt-B here. Boom. In Mozdok, 5 Tu-22s. Come down here. Another air base. They're loaded 5 Tu-22M3s, and they're loaded with Kh-22 missiles. Shekovka, back up in the north, they're 12 Tupolev 22M3s with Kh-22s. And then, of course, the famous Air Force Base, which Ukraine has hit before, Ingalls, way early in the war right here. This is the big one. We've got 2 Tupolev 95s. That's the big bombers, and they're loaded with Kh-101 missiles. Now, how does Ukraine know all of that? It's intelligence. It's, I'm sure, other nations helping. I know the United States is helping and others, but they just know. So that's what we're looking at right there as far as the planes that are loaded and ready to go right now. Thank you, Ricochet. Taurus missiles launched from German Tornado and Eurofighter Typhoon. It's why it was always interesting to me when they kept talking about the Tauruses, because Ukraine has MiGs and Tupolevs, and I just didn't get it from the beginning, but they're not coming. Tonight, I want to show you guys something interesting. Okay. Germany, Spain, and South Korea have them. Okay, cool. Let's do this right here. This is interesting. I'm going to show you guys tonight behind the scenes. So, there is a television channel in Russia. It is called Zvezda. It is a news. It's completely state-controlled. Zvezda. In fact, let me go to the website here. I can show you. This is the website. I went ahead and translated it into English for you guys. So this is completely controlled by the Kremlin and by the Defense Department. They have their own television channel, their own media. Just kind of interesting here. What they write is Russian Defense Ministry announced the launch of a rocket satellite. Putin instructed to further increase the production of drones, Lancet and Cube. Russian Defense Ministry fighters advanced 3 kilometers in depth. Remember what we say? They want Kupiansk direction. That's where they hit the blood bank. The RF armed forces and allow the enemy to transfer through the dried up Kakhovka reservoir. Who dried it up? They did. Look at this. Russian sappers are laying minefields on the territory of the shallowed Kakhovka reservoir. Right here, you can just read it. They're mining the reservoir that's dry now. You don't have to go find this anywhere. I guarantee you they are. Unbelievable. I didn't even see that earlier. So, Pentagon, isn't interesting. They're watching Niger. U.S. has no plans to withdraw its troops from Niger. Talking about drones. Unmanned helicopter BAS-200 be a part of the NWO, the military operation. And it goes on and on and on. Well, this is Zvezda. They put out the work. They put out the work of their soldiers. Nothing bad here. I mean, it's the enemy. They're in the red tape. But they did this whole piece on how great they were. And I'm going to show you a little piece of that right now. Zvezda News, showing how they work. So you are actually watching the Russian military now on Russian state TV. Pretty cool, huh? Showing the territory. This is eastern Ukraine, 100%. This is not the south. This is probably up toward Kupiansk. It's Rubizhny. No talking. Just showing their guys working. Now they're showing their destruction. Look at those fields. Unbelievable. Now, I did catch something here now watching it again. I'll show it to you guys. Let's see if I can. Oh, right there. Right there. See on the truck? Right there. I'm wondering if they're in Rubizhny area. Probably so, because it's definitely eastern Ukraine. Definitely eastern Ukraine. Where's Rubizhny at? I can show you. Let's see here. Rubizhny. It's right. I had it. Rubizhny. Oh, right here. Let's go here. Siversk, Bakhmut's down here, and Rubizhny's right there. I think that's probably where they were filming that stuff at. Regardless, it's definitely eastern Ukraine, and you were just on the inside of Russian state TV a little bit. That's funny. Hope they get a flat. Me too, bud. Every rocket shot is at least a full day of picking up shrapnel from some field. Yeah, and that's, you know what? Let me show you this again. People need to see this. Let's do it that right there. Pause. Do you see all those strikes in those fields? So, Zhenya and I driven past hundreds and hundreds of kilometers of fields that you drive right through that, and you can see where every field is just smoked. And when we talk to the military guys, that's exactly what they tell us. They tell us that those fields that are like that, which are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of kilometers, are worthless. They're very dangerous and full of shrapnel, no possibility to plant. Everything has to be cleaned. It's just wasteland until it's, taken care of. And it's not being taken care of because Ukraine's at war and defending their homeland. But that's that image right there that I just showed you is for hundreds and hundreds of kilometers. So there's a little look behind the scenes tonight. Now, I am not a conspiracy theorist at all. I don't believe in chasing those things. I'd rather find facts. But it is interesting. Durant's Turkey's saying that it was, I'm going to quote this. In fact, I could pull up Turkish news now and show it to you. But they said there is a possibility that it was grain dust. IDF is where I got this from. They said, well, there's also a possibility that Russia did it somehow. So I'm not saying Russia did. It could have been grain dust. You say, well, what are you talking about? Well, I'm talking about this right here. This explosion at the port in Durant's, Turkey today. 12 wounded, 2 seriously, nobody killed. And, very possible grain dust, but I don't put anything past Russia to do to draw attention away. You may say, well, where is that? You have Ukraine here. It's actually down here on the southern. This is Durance right here. And this is the port right here where the grain silos blew up. So whatever it was, here's what I will say. I'll say this. The timing of it's odd. That's all I'm going to say. I mean, we're in day 535 of this war. Everybody talking about the grain deals, and now it's just interesting. It's just interesting. Mark McLaren giving us some United Kingdom info here. Took out 9 of the 12 elevators and wrecked Turkey's participation in any grain deal is what was reported here. Someone smoking turkey cigarettes. Yeah, it's just interesting. I'm going to leave it there because why hadn't it blown up before? I mean, it's just odd. We'll leave it there. How about that? So we're all thinking the same thing. Now, China and Russia sailing around out in the Barents and drawing attention of Ukrainian Navy. The question's why. I just answered it for you. Drawing the attention of the United States Navy. I look at it a little bit differently. Here's how I look at it. We've shared with you guys from day one that there's no question that China and Russia are partners. They may mask it. They may disguise it. They may use third parties for those relationships, work through third party nations. But don't think for one second that they're not partners. They are. They hate the West. They hate Europe. They love power, prestige, and money. And they don't care what happens as long as they have power, prestige, and money. And even just them sailing around together or openly doing that, that should communicate enough to you. But what happens is the world has to put their attention there. The nation of Niger, they had put the timeline on it for the guys doing the coup to leave and give up, or they would do something. Other nations would. Well, that deadline's gone. Wagner's there. There's no question. Wagner's there. No question. Niger has now put out an arrest warrant for Macron, the president of France, and they don't care. The other nations around them, such as Burkina Faso and Mali, have said they will not intervene. What happens? The world's looking there. The world's looking up at the Barents Sea. The world's looking down in Turkey. The world's looking at Israel and Syria. The world's watching what Rocket Boy's doing over there in North Korea. And while all of that's happening, blood banks in Kupiansk and residential homes in Pokrovsk, of which right now, this very minute, 9:59 p.m. Eastern, 4:59 a.m. in Ukraine, they still have suspended the search. And there are people lying under the rubble right now. The world's watching this stuff. This is exactly the plan of Vladimir Putin. That's where we're at, guys. That's where we're at tonight. I did have, let's see here. Let me see here. I thought I was going to, where did it go? Well, I had another image there ready to go, but I don't know where it's at. It was the M1A1 Abrams, but you guys were talking about that already. Most likely Russian visitor carelessly smoking. Mark McLaren agreed. If something is far too coincidental, then it wasn't a coincidence. Ricochet, U.S. sends 4 destroyers to Alaska coast. Hello. That's exactly. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. That's right. And I did have a picture on the M1A1 Abrams, but it disappeared on me. That is coming to war in Ukraine fall. Not just the tanks, but repair kits, supplies for the tanks, fuel systems. You know, when I was reading about that today and making sure it was next. Oh, y'all got me going now. Thanks, PG Slava Ukraine. You're welcome, Nate. Love you, buddy. Y'all got the chat rolling now. Next news: U.S. destroyer in the Taiwan Strait. Oh yeah, it's coming. Russian transport planes have been landing in Niger a few hours ago. 100%. That's correct. Let me check. We're good there. Donetsk air raid's over, but Zaporizhia is still under air raid. That's where we're at. There was one thing I was going to say. Jeffrey Burnett, you're very welcome. Very welcome. Hey, we've got a long stream coming. We're working on it because it's going to take a lot, but it's coming. I can't remember what I was going to say. Oh, well, that's where we're at. Hey, guys, thank you for being here. I know it was something about the war in Ukraine or the world. So you guys be blessed. If anything unfolds crazy, we'll jump on here. Appreciate all of you. You guys are a blessing. And thank you for your support. Thank you for continuing to roll with us. Couldn't do it without you. You guys be blessed. And we'll see you in a couple of days, if not before. Appreciate you. Be blessed. Good night.